Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond. Welcome everybody to another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is Friday, November 18th, 2016. And today is episode 182, Hangout 182. We've been coming together for nearly 3 years now. A bunch of people who are crypto advocates for the blockchain technology that has emerged about 8 years ago with Bitcoin. And we talk about a lot of different things that are going on in the space, and we open up these hangouts for a low barrier to entry means for individual projects to join up and cover the different things that they're working on. For those who are new to the crypto space, if you're listening to this after the fact or attending, it's important to recognize that in cryptocurrency, there's very little regulation. There's very little, it's very much the wild, wild west. So what we are trying to establish by doing things with Beyond Bitcoin is a media project where you don't have to pay to necessarily get coverage. You can instead leverage your community to utilize the tools that we have available. Primarily right now, one of them is Steem, to upvote your content, your RSVPs, to get paid, and also to show support by getting you to the top of the list in these hangouts. Now, we have not yet reached a point in time where we couldn't cover every project that has RSVP'd, but we urge you to recognize that your community and leveraging them to allow them to kind of promote you, and while you're providing the transparency for your project, will be extremely valuable for the newbies in the space. And for those newbies, please always consider what coins you're going to be holding as a bag holder. Are they consistently open and providing a means for their investors to ask questions and to get the answers that they want? Are they willing to and fearless enough to provide that transparency that others in the space might not be willing to, and that sense of accountability for their own projects that they've taken money to build? So I want to thank everybody here and tip my hat to you for those of you who are joining this every week and listening to this every week and supporting the projects that adhere to these principles, because it is very important that as we move forward, we might not get the biggest spikes and pump and dump coins that might die in a year, but we want to build a large portfolio of coins that actually have communities that care and want to promote their content. So if you want to be part of the Beyond Bitcoin movement, all you really have to do is do your own hangouts and post them to the Beyond Bitcoin tag on Steem, and occasionally join up as a guest speaker to talk about it here. That's really all I can see that it would be a requirement. So utilize it as you see fit. And with that said, we have 4 people utilizing it for their projects this week. PeerPlays, who always is here to be transparent and provide weekly updates or near weekly updates. It's going to be Data Security Node providing that update today. Is that correct, Data Security Node?
That's correct.
Okay, and we're also going to have Chris4210 from BlockPay, and Fadat is going to be talking today about the beyondbitcoin.io website, as well as Virtual Growth, who is going to be talking about one of a number of projects that he is working on in the Steem space, as kind of a community director and initiative type of person. He's doing a lot of cool things in this space. So with that said, I'm going to just add this one part to our Hangout from now on, and that is going to be about the Beyond Bitcoin website. We have the Beyond Bitcoin website right now, and there are some trending. There's some trending content on there. One of which is BlockPay at Steamfest, so you can go and visit that. Visit right there on the beyondbitcoin.io website. See the content that they posted to Steem directly from the Beyond Bitcoin website. Feel free to go through this content, like the after the hard fork Steem price, which is another one that's on here, or talking about Viva. Look at all of this content, try the website out, and please feel free to provide Fadat, myself, with your impressions or any bugs that you might see or anything that you would like to see improved upon or changed. And with that said,
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Just exactly. Feedback's really useful. We'd like to know what pieces of it you like, what pieces of it don't work quite the way you think they should, etc. That information is very, very useful to us.
Yes, and this is very important because what we're doing here is we want to establish a means by which all of the people who are creating content here will be able to pass their content around the internet without ever having to even say anything about Steem, right? So if we can enable that, then that's something very powerful. So with that said, please continue supporting our Hangouts and upvoting the content and curating the best content that on the Beyond Bitcoin website and on the Beyond Bitcoin tag on Steemit. And hopefully things like PeerPlays and BlockPay and Virtual Growth's content, you will see them on the Beyond Bitcoin website and other similar websites in the future. Now, with that said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to the update period, where we will get updates from the various projects and going into the question and answers after each of their updates. So with that said, Data, thank you for being here today, as always, to provide the updates that you're providing and to answer the questions that the community might have, and just kind of be here to show people that you guys are consistently making progress. So with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll hand you the talking stick and step down and let you provide us with all the stuff that's going on.
Thank you so much, Fuzzy. Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of Bunker Chain Labs. We are the company which is heading up the PeerPlays project. And today, updates in terms of development, blockchain graphical interface, which we are working on, include being able to display information regarding dividends, switching between active games, and being able to display accumulated balances and whatnot from holding core tokens within the network. So this is all going on right now, and that's where development stands. If you look at PeerPlays right now on CryptoFresh, you can see the current price of PeerPlay is $14.13. It is currently the #2 trading asset on the BitShares decentralized exchange. If you go to CoinMarketCap, I believe it's approximately sitting at $13.95. We've been bouncing all week between #1 and #2. So it's pretty actively traded, and we're certainly seeing decent volume. And in terms of where we're going here, also you'll notice that CryptoFresh, Michael, is not with us today. He is still in Hong Kong, working with our partners there. So it's approximately midnight here, so it's pretty tough for him to be able to attend, which is why he's not here with us today. But so in regards to what I really want to talk about today, is the fact that we are expanding and we are in the process of hiring for an additional team of developers. So what we're looking for is specifically a lead dev, and a scrum master, project manager. That's one position we're looking for. We're looking for front-end developers who are familiar with a MERN stack, not a mean stack. The reason for that, of course, is because we want them to be able to know React.js and Redux. And if they have approximately 2 to 3 years experience, that's good. Understanding that, Redux is relatively new. Don't expect you to know that for 3 years, but at least be a JavaScript developer for that period of time. We're looking for graphic developers who are familiar with user interfaces and user experience. We're looking for mobile developers who can develop for Android, specifically understand Java, Eclipse, and for the Eclipse environment. And of course, we're looking for mobile developers for iOS. So you got to know Objective-C for the Xcode and whatnot. We are also looking for backend developers for which you'll need to have at least 5 years experience with C++. And of course, familiarity with blockchain cryptography. And so these are some of the initial positions we're looking for. Now, don't think that you're going to be able to sit at home and be able to fill these positions, because we're actually looking to build this team right in Canada, Nova Scotia. So these positions will be full-time. You'll have competitive compensation and all kinds of perks. And if you are located in other countries, that's okay. We can accommodate for being able to provide visas and things like that, for worker visas, to be able to work with the team right here. So that's about it. Where if you want to be able to contact us regarding these positions, what you want to do is go to https://peerplays.chat. That's our Rocket Chat channel, and message Bunker Chain Labs, and we'll engage and begin discussing things. Don't start emailing resumes or anything like that. We're not interested in that. We'd like to begin by starting a conversation, and then we can be able to assess your qualifications from there. So that's the update for this week. I'd love to answer any questions anybody has at this time.
You seem to have a big drive here going on there, Data. Did you get some additional funding that is fueling this, or is this just an unfolding of your original plans?
We are at a stage in the project where we have the funding available to us in order to move forward. So this is part of the unrolling in anticipation of the next round of funding, which is going to be taking place pretty soon. We need to, because of, if anyone's looked at PeerPlays.com recently, you can see what the development sort of roadmap is going to be, and what the initial dApps, which are going to be launched, coming out. So up until this stage, we've been working primarily on the test net and, of course, the mystery game as our prototype. And so in the next stage of development, we're going to have to expand in regards to our development team in order to meet the deadlines which we're looking to meet, which are going to be pretty fast. So this is simply the next stage in regards to moving forward. But it is a signal that we're going to be coming out with our next round of funding soon. And we're simply ready to start finding those people who are going to become part of PeerPlays history.
Sounds great.
For those who are interested, yeah, thanks, Tom. That's a good question. For those who are interested in this next round, can you explain a little bit how that's going to work?
Unfortunately, Fuzzy, I can't at this time. We won't be releasing all the details on that until we see fit to ensure that it's fair and even for everybody. It's a matter of the timing of it all. We want to make sure that we have the date set. We want to be completely settled on the format it's going to take. There has been a few changes in regards to what we're thinking about in this round of funding. We want to make sure that when we do this round, we're really, everybody knows how these ICOs tend to go, right? Especially in crypto. Like you got this big spike, And then what happens is everybody just buys in, big spike, and then crash, right? You can look at you can look at every single chart and it's the same thing, right? So our concern, and not necessarily our concern, but what we want to do here, and of course this really characterizes everything we do with PeerPlays, is we want to bring real market factors into play so that we see something that has value and continues to increase in value. And we don't want to have this big spike just like every other crypto project that's come out. So we've carefully analyzed the situation. We want to make sure that when we do go to market, even after our ICO, there's still demand. We're not looking to do this so that we can just like suck up like everybody's millions of dollars and then just leave everybody kind of hanging. That's what's happened like with pretty much every crypto ICO that you've seen. And we want to make
infamous pump.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that everything is done right. So and that everybody is always happy. And of course, we've done that successfully so far with.
Do you think it's really realistic to be able to change the characteristic of what investors are doing out there? Because I think in crypto, most people are, well, I shouldn't put it that way, not most people, but there's an awful lot of speculators out there. They're just looking for opportunities for new coins so they can take advantage of the rise to of market cap that occurs initially, as you pointed out, and then they just go elsewhere once that phase is done. I mean, that's a major characteristic of a lot of investors out there, unfortunately, in crypto space.
Yes, which is why we're working hard to move past just crypto investors and bring in more traditional investors. It's part of what we've been working behind the scenes with. There's a lot more interest in the blockchain space than the typical players which have run the pump and dump, so to speak, over the past five or so years. And so we're reaching out and building relationships so that in this next round we're going to have everything lined up so that all the incentives and all the proper everybody's in the right place, and holders will be able to see the value and not necessarily want to even dump it. And you know what? The PeerPlays token is so unique compared to every other token because, once the live blockchain is going, you're actually going to be receiving profit shares on this token. So it's the first token where you're just holding it and it's actually accumulating value. So this is a very different factor. But besides that, we want to make sure that everybody is happy at the end of the day. We want to make sure that the project has the proper funding for its budget and that we stay in budget. And so that in the future, if there is another funding round, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, then at that stage, everybody who went in the last one is certainly going to be a no-brainer for them to go forward. We really don't want to, we've seen in the past with crypto projects, it seems like it's like this mad rush to just get every single BTC that they can get their hands on, and then they're done. And it's because after that, everything crashes and everybody who bought into it's the bag holder. So we certainly have not done that. We started at a very low price, and today we're at $14, and everybody's at a 5x right now, which I think is everyone pretty happy. And we've had some people, just like you talk about, Thom, that have sold out over the course of the time. We've just in the last week, as a matter of fact, somebody who had 10,000 PeerPlays over the course of the past few months has been slowly, selling, and they finally have sold out. So I'm sure that they're very happy, and that if there's another round with PeerPlays, they're going to be happy to get involved again because they could see that we've handled our offering responsibly, and we've been responsible to the holders of PeerPlays.
Is that the type of investor that you want to retain, or is that acceptable to you, or are you trying to downplay that type of investor?
We have no illusions about some idea that we can control who buys cryptocurrencies, so we can't really speak to that. If I'm understanding you correctly, Data, you're trying to get people to have a longer term perspective in their investments with PeerPlays, and the investor you just described apparently didn't have that. He's on the pump and dump train, it sounds like, and so
how do you plan to control that? One of the ways you just mentioned was to bring in outside non-crypto investors. That's a good strategy for achieving that. But in the case of the guy you just mentioned, that's not somebody you really want to entice, but you can't control it, of course. I understand that.
That's correct. I think you answered your own question.
For that one guy, at least.
Yeah, the truth is all we can do is provide information on what PeerPlays is all about, give people who'd like to get involved and contribute to the project as much information as possible so that they can make their own educated decisions on this. And we're attracting a whole different level of people who are interested in getting into the block space. So when it comes time for our next offering, I have a feeling that we're going to see some interesting things happen.
Well, I know that you can't tell us all the details of that right now, but it sounds like you guys are working on some things and it's still somewhat in flux, but it's just at a point where you probably have most everything figured out, but just not enough to quite feel comfortable saying anything about it yet. So I guess I'll just press the issue later on. I'll put that in my back pocket for right now, but don't think I won't ask again.
That's fine. We'll be bringing it, like I said, as soon as we can make these announcements, we're going to, because there's a certain period of time that we have for things to get done.
Hey, Dada, I've never played a computer game in my life. Is there a place for me in this?
You've never played a computer game in your life, not even solitaire.
I've played solitaire, but not on a computer.
Okay, well, certainly. I mean, there's a first time for everything, isn't there? So I guess PeerPlays will be where you learn how to play games online.
And do you think that's a good idea? Do you recommend it?
Of course, I recommend it.
I would recommend. I would recommend Once Upon a Time. I would recommend you starting out with something like what F. King Lag is talking about, chess on the computer, like battle chess. I recall being existing around the 1990s. That should be a pretty good start, and we could actually bet on whether you slay your opponent.
Well, what you're missing here, guys,
in Quake.
what you're missing here, guys, is that he's expressed that he's not all that interested in playing games on the computer. So he's asking whether or not there's something else that would entice him to come and learn how to play games. That's, I think, what I'm hearing him say.
That's exactly it. Any time I spend playing games, I'm not spending searching out investment opportunities and things like that.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because, I mean, if you're playing this game and you're actually holding PeerPlays, you're actually feeding into your investment.
Right, and to support you, I did buy into the first round, and when the value went way up, I sold out, and I'll buy. I have been buying back in, but how do I put this? Well, that's exactly it. Any time I spend playing games, I don't watch baseball, I don't watch football, I don't watch television. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah. You don't want to waste your time. You are spending your time focusing on investment type of stuff and what is in it for you if that's your main focus, which sounds like Data kind of answered that earlier, in my opinion, which when he said that this is one of the first tokens, or is the first token that will be paying dividends back into, or maybe that's not what you called them, but paying back into the token holders and giving back to them. So just holding the PeerPlays tokens themselves would be a means of gaining more tokens in return, I guess, right?
I don't consider my investing to be selfish. I consider that I am searching out opportunities that add to the viability of this new thing, this new economy that we're building. If it makes me wealthy, that's good. That's a great side effect. But I'm trying to promote the overall economy, and I think that PeerPlays is one of the things that's going to add to that, especially because they're developing things like the ability to hand out dividends. That's going to be needed in lots of other companies, in lots of other projects. So I think they're doing great things. I'm just, where I'm coming from is I don't think I'll be a user of it. I will probably be an investor, but I won't be a user of the product.
That makes sense. I think aside from what you said about being a user, there is the opportunity of becoming a referrer, because we do have the referral program built into the network. There's always the opportunity to be able to tell others who you know are gamers to check it out and use it. So certainly another way that you could be building on building on your holdings with PeerPlays.
So monetizing old gaming friendships,
Exactly.
which is actually a very big deal for some people who have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people that they've known over the course of time playing video games online.
I'd like to take this opportunity actually to bring up a question that was asked of me in Telegram just the other day by one of the users. Their question was regarding our Texas Hold'em poker and how is it that we can have no rake. They were concerned that somehow why would we want to refer Texas Hold'em players with no rake and be a refer if it's not going to make us any money, right? That's a legitimate that's a legitimate question.
Sounds fair.
And I'm sure, yeah, and I'm sure some people are wondering about that. And so the reason being is because first off, we looked at a lot of different models in regards to Texas Hold'em and how to first introduce this to market. And we have to consider the fact that this will be a brand new offering and that Texas Hold'em players, professional ones in particular, are very, very entrenched in regards to where they play. They don't really like shop around for other places to play. And when you start when there are new places to play, they either don't have enough. They suffer from the same type of effect as regards to markets. If you don't have enough volume, then you just don't have enough enough stake to be able to really win big like they're used to at the places that they play all the time. So we looked at that situation and we realized that we needed to not worry so much about how much money we're making initially in every transaction, but instead look at user adoption and retention. And when you say no rake versus saying, 0.2% or something like that, there's a very different psychological effect it has on people in regards to, the opportunity in that. I mean, when we're talking about these high stake players, we're talking like huge amounts of money that even just a few percentage points would cost them. So the opportunity for them to be able to actually go someplace and play and retain that is going to be massive. And that is going to attract not just professionals, but we're going to have the common players as well. And when we talk about all these things in regards to how we start off, you have to understand that PeerPlays is not controlled by us. There will be a committee which could decide in regards to how the fees might go in the future. So this is what gives us the ability to be able to be flexible in the marketplace. So in the event that it looks like maybe we're wrong, maybe the whole idea of the no rake thing was just not working out, then the committee could decide at that point that, we should raise the rates a little bit because the impact of having no rake is really not doing what we thought it would do. And there's no sense in just losing money here. Let's increase it a bit. So the committee can make that decision. And of course, that's going to be completely up to the PeerPlay stakeholders in regards to who the committee is to execute on those things. So it's ultimately going to be up to the PeerPlays holders. It's a co-op. It's a place for everybody to have a say according to their stake. And that was the answer that we gave in regards to that question regarding no rake with poker. And of course, the fact is that anybody who's a poker player, when they come to PeerPlays, they're a PeerPlays player in everything. So if they get into the sports betting or if they get into other aspects of the network, there is other profits to be made there as well.
Yeah, that's something I'm actually interested in because I play poker. I've actually played at semi-professional level World Series of Poker. And for that question about what about bots is another curious question, if you have information regarding that as well.
Yeah, there are some really, really talented bots out there, unnaturally talented.
So we've already started to put together some preliminary concepts for handling bots, but it also in the design is also going to take care of a lot of that. We've had this question asked I think a few times in the past. Michael went into much more detail about it than I can at this time, but I can tell you that we are cognizant of these things and that we'll be addressing them as the game is being implemented.
Now, virtual growth, just one thing that I was thinking about, and I hate to to take us too far off topic, but Virtual Growth was saying that he plays poker. This might be a good opportunity for you when PeerPlays does come out with the poker to maybe move over to that platform and promote using that on Steam. Have you considered that?
It depends on the overall acceptability and usability, but it definitely is a potential possibility. It depends on what type of crowd it attracts and what size it grows at. It may take time, it may not.
Data, would you be interested in people who are doing stuff like that already? Maybe working with PeerPlays in some way, shape, or form?
Yes, well, we're certainly doing our best to build PeerPlays to be a platform to allow people to do just that.
I actually
So
also
do
know.
you think oh, go ahead.
I know tons of poker players. I played casual to high level, and I played on all sorts of different parts of the country as well. I'm not right now, but I'll be doing that again eventually. So I'm definitely very interested in this project, as well as a bunch of people I know as well. So I'll be definitely watching for it, see how it grows and evolves.
Awesome. You know, it's interesting how this works. And Data, another question for me would be, and this is kind of thinking from the standpoint of somebody like Virtual Growth. You did mention that there would be referrals that you could gain. Do you guys have the details in any way, shape, or form about that at this juncture, or will that be something that is a little bit further down the road?
Say, Fuzzy, just to let you know that you're starting to break up. I don't know if that's a warning of things to come, but you're starting to get a little bit breaking up. Not clipping, but just, I don't know what it is, but it's something in the audio that I'm detecting there.
Thank you. Can you still hear me?
Oh, it's not a matter of hearing you, but it's the audio starts getting choppy or something. And it's just beginning. It's not really bad right now, so I'd say continue on at the moment. Just letting you know that it's there.
How about now? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. So to answer your question, yes, the details of the program, I can't give any details right now in regards to specifics that you're talking about. It's quite possible that once we get closer to live chain launch that we might make some adjustments. So nothing at this time, but there are some questions in regards to the testnet that are being asked that I can see. So Fox is asking about the testnet, if it's on private servers or if it's open to the public. The testnet is private at this stage. We will be making it open to witness testing prior to our live launch. This will be so that we can start a process of vetting potential witnesses, which will be coming into the live blockchain once we launch. So we will be making announcements of that prior, of course, to give everyone an opportunity to get familiar with how PeerPlays witness nodes work and get a chance to be known and get involved. Because of course in depots, it's all about the votes. So we have to, of course, we want to see competence and know who you are, and of course, being a PeerPlays witness is going to be quite lucrative.
Fox is the estimated time of arrival on that, if you have one.
Unfortunately, today I can't give you an ETA.
That's okay. We've kind of learned in the past that it's better sometimes whenever you don't know for sure not to say until it's done. So. With that said, we're about at 30 minutes. Is there anything that anybody feels hasn't been covered today, or anything, Data, that you would like to, press upon, or any questions for the community, or anything that you would like to wrap it up with?
Just to get back to our update, everybody know that if they're interested in being able to come to Canada and become a part of the PeerPlays development team and make some history, you can, of course, go to peerplays.chat. Again, that's HTTPS, peerplays.chat, to message us and start a discussion and see if you're a potential candidate. And we are accepting applications from anywhere in the world.
Awesome. And they can reach out to you guys on peerplays.chat, correct?
Correct. I'll leave the URL in the chat box here.
Okay, guys. Well, everybody, the next person who is going to be speaking today is going to be Chris4210 of BlockPay. Here on his RSVP, he says, today we're going to talk about our impression of the SteamFest 2016 or in Amsterdam, our takeaways, and where we see the upcoming future of BlockPay and Steem. So feel free to step up, Chris, whenever you have the chance, and I'll step down and let you provide some updates.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction, Fuzzy. Yeah, I think it was really, really an amazing weekend when we went to Amsterdam to see the Steam Fest. And I think when you are following the updates and the videos, there's a lot of stuff happened, and I'm quite positive, surprised what kind of people showed up, or the diversity of the people. A lot of girls who came for Steemit, and it is really eye-opening, inspiring to see that. With platforms like that, we're really gonna move faster into the realm of real digital currencies that you can really easily access them, use them, earn them, and then spend them on different things, whatever you want to do with that. And that was really inspiring to see so many different people, especially those. I would say like 50 to 60% of the participants on this festival, on this event, they are not really deep into the technology. They don't really have a big knowledge about Bitcoin and blockchain and miners and all the different things that we talk about every day. So they are really from the outside, but still they are quite active in what is happening, and they're active in the terms of that there's new money coming, and they're really excited about to use it.
So would it be safe to say that the Steam Fest kind of showed you that there is a lot more in terms of the female demographic interested in Steam than most other blockchains than you've seen?
Well, I would say the Steam Fest gave everybody a little sneak peek into the industry to really say, okay, we are now 2016. How will blockchain look like 2017 and 18? And it's going to be way more diverse. We're going to have people from all different ethics, different colors, different ages, everything. We had so many people there who really are just interested in this new concept of digital currencies and publications, how you blog and how you publish videos and pictures and your ideas and how you distribute art. It is really a complete new way that is possible through the blockchain technology. And that makes it very interesting, because this is then, I think, more and more accessible by everybody. And in a certain way, I think also what we saw in the last couple of months and years is most Bitcoin or blockchain applications are still very user unfriendly. Like look, one of the best applications that they're out there is a Brad wallet. A lot of people like that one. Then there's the Jax wallet. There's the Circle wallet. I think it's actually not that bad, but still it is quite geeky, and it is still very it's not easy to get started. You have to get there, you have to download, you have to know what it is. But with new platforms like Steam or eSteam, SteemSports, and all these other platforms that are coming around that, who are educating people what is a digital currencies, and then get them curious on it, that is pretty fascinating. And I think no other area can do that right now. Even Ethereum didn't make that possible. Even them, they couldn't build that kind of bridge as we saw this week.
Man, it sounds like you guys had a blast. I can only imagine the conversations that went on there. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to bring up regarding this subject that Chris is bringing up? Did anybody attend?
Well, I would say we had really quite a lot of people, and what was also my surprise, that a lot of the core people from BitShares was around. So that was also quite, I think, one of the first real meetings where we had the old core devs from BitShares all coming to Amsterdam, all sitting together. Then a couple, of course, new guys, and a couple of investors who came over. So I think it was really a good weekend to talk about the future, where we want to go with BitShares, because Steem is going their own way. They're going their own direction, and you can really see clearly they have a good community. But BitShares also has a lot of stuff to come. And we have a lot of new startups who are starting to build on BitShares, which is really exciting for me.
Yeah.
And I think there are going to be way more good news coming up about the BitShares platform, about new companies who are going to build on, going to be more traffic, and a lot of good stuff, because people are now looking more into Steem. They look into the core graphene technology. They discover BitShares. It is a synergy effect for the whole community.
Agreed. I will say that a lot of the people that I've met on Steem have never touched a cryptocurrency in their life. And that trail that you just described is really the trail of crumbs that they tend to follow whenever they start digging into cryptocurrency. Steem kind of introduces them to graphene in general, and then they can start realizing, like, wait a second, BitShares was the beginning of that. And that's where a lot of people seem to be learning that.
Yeah, so that they get a better understanding where's the technology coming from, and what is the technology capable of. So this is really a good way to get started, and of course also it is quite interesting what kind of group dynamic they develop. And yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. Like, if you think about all these new interfaces, this is what BitShares can do, and I'm very confident that we're going to see more interfaces in the future. That it's one common blockchain, but it can look totally different. And you can see that already. We have different exchanges on the BitShares. On the Steem, you have different news sites, different blog pages. So Beyond Bitcoin.io is one of those where you can really see, okay, you see a full-fledged blog with a lot of different articles, with cool content, with a lot of commentaries. But you yourself, you don't really have to do a lot of stuff to do it. The same is for the SteemSports. I met the guy. It's quite interesting how they came up with the idea. Both of them, both founders, are actually not big into sports at all. But they just sit there, they programmed it, and now they have a curation team of like 10 people who are writing up all these fantastic posts. And at the end, you can do sports betting without even investing 1 cent. The only thing you invest is to say this team or that team will win. And they're going to build their own website for that, and people just going to gamble. They will earn the digital money. And the next big question is, okay, how do I spend it? How do I invest that maybe in an ICO and to participate in this new economy? And when you look at where Open Ledger is pulling BitShares right now, you can see clearly that we're going to have more and more ICOs coming up. We have more and more platforms that are not really blockchain related, but they are crowdsourcing their money on the BitShares platform, which brings us all volume, are coming. And then you have, of course, here a closed loop again, because the people who earn money on sports betting because their favorite team won, they invested into stocks or tokens that are available here on the BitShares platform, and that is all crossed polluting, basically. Polluting is the wrong word, but it's basically connecting all these different platforms together.
Yeah, that's why I always tend to like to refer to each of these blockchains as like another tool in our toolbox, because the specific blockchains themselves are going to offer various things that we can utilize to kind of leverage to bring the blockchain, the graphene technology, to a mass market, right?
Yes, to mass market, and basically put it into a place of a backbone technology. So it's like IPFS. This is another thing that actually we are working on heavily, and IPFS shows us a lot of great opportunities, not only for BlockPay but for all the other stuff that we want to put on IPFS. And we are heavily now developing IPFS in C, which is another coding language next to the other ones that are already existing. But Ken really did an amazing job here with his team, and they really developed a completely new version of IPFS. And it looks pretty stunning what we can do, and I think we're going to have a lot of more news about that, how that really will play out in our applications, in our products. But at the end, IPFS also going to be a core technology where you build different products or different layers on top, and the end user, he doesn't really know that he's using that. And graphene will move into a similar area.
Well, speaking of you bring up IPFS. Ken Code actually posted something today, and I'll post the link in Mumble for those who want to upvote it. But it is actually providing an update on BlockPay itself, Stealth, IPFS, Graphene, mobile wallets, and Echo. Do you want to get into any of those updates while you're here today?
I cannot really give basically really the technical details because I'm not so deep into that. But as you can see, we talked about it. What we are doing is we are taking part of the information part of the program on IPFS, and that is where we actually found out that the current implementation in Java and Go is just not sufficient. It's not fast enough. It is not really the way how we need it, and that's why we started to program that in C, which is really amazing because with C we can actually install an IPFS node on any kind of hardware. So that means any kind of Raspberry Pi or any kind of small piece of chip or similar can now be running as an IPFS
That's
node.
cool.
And deliver the IPFS features, so deliver data and share it. And that's of course going to be quite interesting because then in this way we can also hack certain kind of hardware and put BlockPay payments features on that. If you combine it, for example, with a near field communication chip with NFC, you could imagine we could basically put BlockPay anywhere. You just log in with your phone and you pay. There is no limitation. It could be vending machines. It could be cash registers. It could be the door in the hotel room. It could be in the bar when you want to get into that. It could be anything you could think about. So that's going to be pretty easy to do in the future, and that's going to be available.
Yeah, virtual growth, you're right. That would be amazing. I can already see, going up to a hotel door and it's vacant and I just, scan a QR code or something and unlock the door, and now I have it for the night.
Yeah, it's like a vending machine. You just go there, you take the room you want, and you pay directly from your phone. Or maybe you also have, I mean, like the beautiful thing is in the future you could even imagine about different platforms as well. I mean, like what I saw recently, what I really like is for music festivals, they are starting to move and provide these new wristbands which have a near-field communication chip on it, and they have a count on it. So you can upload money, or you can put money onto this wristband, and then you run all over the festival area. And if you want to grab a beer, you just get the beer, you put your wristband there, you pay. That is actually already standard in Singapore in the schools. The little kids who are going to school, when they want to get their lunch box, they just go there with the little wristband and then they pay. It's like a watch, and I see a huge potential for that as well. And that is something that would basically really work nicely with the BitShares platform as well.
Well, I know that that Disney is using something similar as well in their parks, like in Disney World and Disneyland. They are starting to use similar wristbands.
Yeah, I think they're exploring.
Since that
they're exploring this opportunity as well, because it would make a lot of things easier. But I hope that we can take off the wrist at the end of the day.
Well, I heard that Dragon Chain, F. King Lag said Dragon Chain is what Disney bought. I heard somebody told me that it's basically like a delegated proof of stake. I don't know if that's true or not, but
well, there are many rumors that it's actually not really a real blockchain. So it's just have the name of a blockchain, but it's actually not.
Oh, so they throw it out there when it's popular. Just use the Disney name.
Yeah, I think actually you don't really need a blockchain for if you are like in an internal area like Disney World. You think you don't really need a big blockchain for everything.
True, you don't. I remember seeing an infographic on when you need a blockchain and when you don't, and I found myself kind of like smiling, because you see a lot of the time people kind of talking like we can use a blockchain for everything, and sometimes it's not just to use a blockchain for everything. But with that said, what about Stealth? Is there anything going on with Stealth right now?
Yeah, of course. We have our developing team. We're looking into that further. Ken shared a couple of days ago the first user interface designs how stealth could be implemented. We are still thinking about the best way how to make that really simple so that everybody understands it. So in the user interface, in the light client, you're going to have basically a little icon that shows you, okay, now this is a stealth transaction, and in this way you can do it. I noticed actually that a couple of days ago there were some people also playing around with stealth transactions, so you could see that actually on CryptoFresh, that you just see unknown send, unknown amount. So that is pretty amazing if you think about real stealth. So that is already accessible by the CLI client, but it is still very risky. So what we are doing, we make that more secure, and we are using also IPFS to basically guarantee you or help you to not lose your money. We cannot guarantee it, but we can help you that you don't lose it, and to make that user friendly. And we are moving with that quite fast forward. But I cannot really say when we're going to be finished with the first pilots.
Sure.
But I think what is going to be interesting to see is if you look at the stealth technology that we are building right now with on the BitShares blockchain, it is still it uses part of the Zcash encryption and the core idea how Zcash is developing. But at the end, it's going to be still faster and more scalable. And I think we really have to see how we can market that over the long term. I think we're going to write a couple of articles really about it, because it's built on graphene, and you have all the speed, you have all the different account features, how to protect your accounts with multiple keys, etc. And you can use it for any kind of token. I mean, it's not only for currency. A stealth transaction works with any kind of token you have. So you can really create...
So you can basically add those properties to your coin at a moment's notice.
Yeah, basically, you can use your UIA and send it via stealth. I mean, it's all the same token on the blockchain. If you think about it, the only thing you cannot do is trade. That is still a bit tricky to manage this. But if you have a very cryptical account and then you use that to trade, I mean, like, you don't need to really use the name feature on BitShares. You can just have a Bitcoin address as a name, and then you gain a certain layer of anonymity again.
It's a really awesome way of saying it. Now, you guys are, I'm assuming, isn't Zcash zero knowledge proof?
Yeah, it is zero knowledge proof. Of course, it also leaves some trails behind. But the problem with Zcash is not really that they can hide the sending information or the transaction information. Where I see the biggest problem with Zcash is, okay, there's no liquidity. I mean, there's not enough coins to really move large amounts. Then you have the slow blockchain, which is not scaling, and then you have also this the missing infrastructure. So you have to build new wallets, you have to build new exchanges, you have to add it everywhere. And you can already see a couple of people who are adding it, but still it's going to be not easy to use. And I think there's also some very unclear, untrustly.
Well, out of curiosity, whenever you're looking at having, like, let's say somebody uses this stealth on their token, is it going to be as fast as something like, let's say Zcash uses the Lightning Network? Have you guys looked into the differences between those?
I don't know that answer. Can give you a couple of more information about that, but right now I cannot.
Sure. Of course, Ken, if you ever want to type out an answer to that, that would be something that I'm very interested in, because I know I've heard a lot of people talk about the Lightning Network, but that's not really what you were planning on talking about. So we can move away from that if you need. I was asking about, have you guys considered what the differences would be between something like using stealth on BitShares and the Lightning Network for Zcash? For those who are wondering what the heck Zcash is.
I think at the end we have to do some performance tests and then really show the big differences. And I think then we're going to have, quite a cool competition where to say, okay, who's faster and who has more scalability, who can really provide this stream of anonymity on a blockchain, and where you can move your money very easily around.
I'll definitely be interested to see stealth as it approaches something that's a little bit more tangible, and we're able to start using it, so I can stealthily send you guys tokens, because you know my schemes. But Out of curiosity, does anybody have any questions or comments for Chris4210 today? Because I can go on myself, however.
Yeah, maybe gonna add one more little update. So we arranged our marketing team. We have new people on board who are helping us in sharing basically our startup journey. In the last couple of weeks, we had a couple of problems with our old marketing partners, so we fired them, and we are now managing everything ourselves. So you're gonna also have more and more articles and updates about what we are doing, so that you can really follow what's going on with BlockPay and all our technologies that we are developing.
So you guys are going to be starting to, have you hired somebody new? Is that what you said?
Yes, we added 2 new people.
And are these people who are in the crypto space or outside of the crypto space, or?
No, actually, they are outsiders, so that makes it even more interesting. We are training them how to really get to knowledge about all this stuff. But for us, we are more interested, of course, in the outside world of the blockchain industry. So they are experts in the area of content creation and social media marketing, but they're not really up to speed with all the crypto stuff yet.
Does this mean that your ambassador program is changing?
Our ambassador program is changing, not really. I mean, we have all our people on board. What the ambassadors are now focusing on is we are focusing on the upcoming ICO next summer. And they are more community building now, because we noticed that in a lot of areas where we have ambassadors, the knowledge about cryptocurrencies or digital currencies is quite low. So we are now supporting them in organizing events locally, going to conferences. We have a couple of ambassadors who are joining fintech events all over the world and sending us reports and local reports, which is quite interesting, because then we have a really deep inside view what is happening in Latin America, what is happening in South Africa, what is happening in Asia, where is the market moving, what do the people think about Bitcoin, how do they get Bitcoin, how do they use it, and we are gathering all this information and to publish that again. And in this way, the ambassadors are now focusing on education, and then in a couple of months, they're going to focus on hardcore selling the product on the market, because then we are ready with our core product, we are ready with the marketing, we have built up the brand, and then they can really reach out to be the people, the guys on the street, to talk to all the different merchants. And we just hear basically that the big players who are in the market, they're still avoiding this area. I mean, like the big point of sales providers in the Bitcoin space, they are more focusing on the e-commerce side, because they don't really want to go on the brick and mortar yet. But I think with our approach, we are building up a community around BlockPay and around our products, who is really excited to talk about this new change, to talk about Steem, to talk about BitShares, to talk about the digital currencies and the way how you now can manage your money privately and personally. And with this movement that we are building right now, it is going to be super easy to really be everywhere, be in every big city, to talk about digital currencies and how they can impact and improve people's life.
Well,
I think
we can't complain about that.
I think a lot of people have difficulties transcending the abstract nature of cryptocurrency into what happens in the real world. I ran into that when I gave my talk with a local group here recently, and some of them get it, but it's really a difficult struggle for them to see the connection between these abstract ideas of what a blockchain can do and how that applies to real world applications like titles in money and other things.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the audience. For example, we just got some good market reports from Latin America. In Latin America, basically 30% of all the people, they don't have a bank account, so they have no access to store their money with the bank, and of course no credit cards, no bank cards. And the big problem for them is, if I don't have a bank account, how can I join the e-commerce world? How can I buy products on Amazon or on eBay? How can I get access to these cheap products that are outside of my village, outside of my city, if I cannot pay, if I cannot send the money? So those kind of people are actually very interested in using Bitcoin and other currencies, because they can buy a Bitcoin in their city, and then with the Bitcoin they can go to the e-commerce site and buy the products and let them ship to their home village. And in this way, it is really growing very, very strongly in Latin America, and Brazil, and Argentina. And that's where we also really see a huge potential for BlockPay, because those people, they already know what Bitcoin is. They don't really understand how it all works, but it's not really their concern. The concern is more, okay, can I use it, and can I buy my products I want? And if you're gonna think about it, that they already know, okay, I can buy products online, and now I can also buy it here on the food market. I can also go to a hotel. I can book my trip, my ferry, my cab, my train, whatever I need with Bitcoin. Then the connection comes pretty fast.
Yes, real world pressure.
Especially,
When people feel under pressure from if their money is confiscated, or if they don't have a bank account and they want to participate in the economy, then there needs to be some kind of pressure to incentivize them to learn more and to dig into the technology.
and I think those pain points are being reached, wouldn't you say? I mean, looking around
Yes.
the world, there's a lot of people who are ready for this, and we have the technology. Like when you look at BlockPay, for instance, what do you need for BlockPay to be used? A tablet or a cell phone? You know, um, even in a lot of places in the third world now, a smartphone is something that a lot of people want and have. Well, with that said, does anybody have any other questions, comments? Chris, do you have any questions or comments that you'd like to leave with everybody today before we wrap this side up?
Well, I would like to close today. I have I don't know who are the people who all watched the presentation on Steamfest, but I found one of our marketing guys. He came up with a really nice quote that I really like, and I would like to share it with everybody. And that is, digital currencies is a lifestyle choice. And if you decide to live in the modern world, in the modern digital economy with Steam dollars, with all the beautiful BitShares currencies we have, it is a choice that we really are going to use it, and that we are going to build a new economy with these currencies.
Yes, I will leave it with that because I think that's the best way of saying it. I could not say it any better. So thank you very much, Chris, for showing up today and providing some updates with what you guys are up to and what's going on in the BlockPay and BitShares side of the ecosystem. And to those who are listening to these Hangouts for the first time, if you are looking at quality cryptocurrencies with a community, BitShares is one of the ones that where all of these people who have been working on various projects have touched at some point or another. It is one of the ones that is essentially one of the first cryptocurrencies that truly innovated in the space beyond Bitcoin. So with that said, thank you very much, Chris, for showing up. And next on the list is going to be Fadat, and he's going to be talking about Beyond Bitcoin IO website. And
That's correct.
So with that said, Fadat, you are here. I hear you talking. And you also wanted to bring up something called Chainbase. So why don't I go ahead and hand you the talking stick and step down from the podium, and you go ahead and step on up, buddy.
Alrighty. Okay, so all right, let's talk a little bit about the BeyondBitcoin.io website and what went into making it. Now, I want to just be very frank with everybody here. It was too difficult. And what I mean by too difficult is that it could have been a lot easier. Now, we've got that website set, and we can make more like it without much difficulty. Getting to this stage took far too long, given what the Steem blockchain is. The Steem blockchain is a database for blog posts and the like. And it shouldn't have been quite so difficult to get that set. Well, let's see. It took a long time, and now we have the BeyondBitcoin.io website, which, as you can see what it's doing, it takes all the posts with the Beyond Bitcoin tag, and it puts them on the site. So the next step with that is growing it into more of a platform that can connect to Steem and read different things, can be programmed more directly. So Fuzz, you want to kind of take it back? Well, people think about that.
Well, first off, has anybody checked out the website who is currently here?
I'm doing it now.
Oh, great.
Real quick for that, do you happen to have a link to the repo for that?
Oh, sure thing. Yeah, just a second.
Looks pretty good to me.
Well, yeah, there are definitely some things that still need fixed and everything, but for
There always will be.
these are the things that need to be moved forward with. But, we're working slowly on getting some of those things ironed out.
One of the things that I'm wondering what other people's perspectives are, but there's so many media venues that you can choose to get information from. I mean, you've got Steam, and now we have BeyondBitcoin.io, and of course there's zillions of others that people have already been tuned into before we even existed. So for me personally, and this is just for me personally, I'm getting overloaded because, like, where do I go to get the best information? That's the key thing for me.
Well, let me ask you a question, Tom. And this is something that I'm very serious about, because I've been talking about for quite some time giving Beyond Bitcoin away to the people who are part of BitShares and who've been building graphene chains and other stuff, right? Now imagine when you look at this website. Let's say you could subscribe to this website, and when you subscribe to it, it unlocks a special feature where you can actually now, based on how much you're paying per month for your subscription, you get X amount of Beyond Bitcoin tokens, right? And those Beyond Bitcoin tokens are now going to be essentially an IOU for a vote on Steam, which leverages illiquid Steam power that is stuck in people's accounts, right? And gives them the ability to make liquid some of the value of their account. So if I'm Bob and I'm holding 500,000 Steam power, I might have a heck of a reason to power down that Steam, right? But if instead I can create a token on BitShares that makes it so it represents a vote that allows me to then sell that token or give it out to people who are part of a community. Now they can start leveraging that, and we can start giving out those tokens, and they can start leveraging it to actually upvote and curate content. In addition, now imagine whenever you are a subscriber to this site, you get these Beyond Bitcoin tokens, and you start scrolling through, and you see, wow, this post right here is a really good post. And I think that I would like to power it up with Beyond Bitcoin tokens. So I want to give this thing 500 tokens and pay out 1 per unique share on social media. Right. So now you can go through and power up these different posts to incentivize other community members to share the content on the site. So what you're looking at is essentially the ability to create a guild token that is backed by illiquid Steam power. And it kind of creates an IOU that is actually backed by real value, guaranteed value, because, if I have a Beyond Bitcoin token and I'm not powering down my account, well, then that token is backed by the same amount of Steam power at all times.
Is part of what you're describing, you've mentioned quite a few concepts here, but is part of what you're mentioning here kind of a more or less a derivative of Steam power, because you can't get Steam power out right away?
Yes.
So is it kind of a derivative for Steam power where the Steam power backs whatever the token is?
Yeah. Now, in my vision, imagine that there's 2 different things you can do. You can subscribe to the site, or you can give over your voting power to the site, right? So now you could have a guild where it's got a guild account. Now these tokens that everybody's earning from sharing content, from subscribing, from attending Hangouts, from creating their own Hangouts, various other things that we could do. Now imagine those tokens are in the hands of people who are trying to build out Beyond Bitcoin, and you guys are going to be among the people who are holding them. So if you ever see something that you think deserves a vote, you can, like you said, it's a kind of a derivative of the Steam power of that community or that individual who's backing it with the Steam power, right? And now it's a common token that everybody can share, and it gives them an incentive to want to make that token worth more by establishing those rules and by doing the things that needs to be done to kind of organize a community in its own organic, unique way to bring that valuable content and curate it as well.
Now,
and I truly believe that if you had a concept like this, you wouldn't see many people powering down Steam. And I honestly think that you would see Steam and BitShares both explode.
Will this mechanism you were describing, will it circumvent the long-term characteristics of the Steam power, though? Because if people have a way of more or less, although it's not literally trading it as representative, will it have a similar effect to having literally traded the Steam power directly?
I doubt it, but I mean that's something
a good question.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty important.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer though.
But the thing is, the only way that it can be a problem is if. Sorry.
We'll see. Basically,
it's an economic question. Yeah, it's an economic question. It's kind of like, how does the marketplace respond to having this capability, and what are the ramifications of that? And you know, it's kind of hard to anticipate some of these things because they involve so many people, and it's like trying to anticipate what the market wants to do. You know, that's a speculative game.
What I suspect you would see is you would see a lot of people trying to work together to back a token. You would see a lot of people create tokens on BitShares first. They would want to back them by their own Steam power, or create communities that have their own token, and they, you know, are the person who, you know, is kind of in charge of distributing it and all that stuff. And you would have communities who would want to come together to back that. I think the first stage, though, would be kind of like with cryptocurrencies, how you saw that everybody created one under the sun, and then you would slowly see certain communities emerge that are going to guaranteed have that power. I don't think that it's going to hurt anything as far as Steam power's value, because in fact what it's doing when you think about this is you have an incentive to hold it in Steam power first off, right? If you can kind of create that derivative that makes it liquid, that now I can pass out beyond Bitcoin tokens to people who are trusted agents of Bitcoin, beyond Bitcoin, or have done things in the past that have been very beneficial for beyond Bitcoin, I can give them tokens that I can say essentially, you know, instead of sending me a message asking me to upvote this, you are somebody I already trust, which is why you have 1,000 Beyond Bitcoin tokens. Go ahead and upvote it yourself with that with the Beyond Bitcoin account, because it's not mine, it's not yours, it's ours, right? So I think when you see people doing this, they're not going to want to power down, because they're going to become invested in the tokens that they have on BitShares, and they're going to want that to be the primary token, because then they never have to touch their Steam power, right?
Which is a good thing, but you know, I think one of the things that I think you're seeing here, Fuzzy, is you have a very optimistic attitude, and you have a very altruistic attitude. You think that if there are people here that want to game the system, there could be a possible double spend where people say, all right, I'm going to send my tokens out and make use of it and get all whatever I can from my tokenized Steam power from transactions I can do with my tokens with other people. But then as soon as you get that value, then you say, well, now I'm going to liquidate my Steam power and just get out and do this all over again someplace else in some other way with another account, for example. So if somebody has an intention of gaming the system, there may be an avenue for doing that more so.
What you think? Like, how do you think that they would, like, how do you see somebody gaming that system?
Well, I kind of just described it. Maybe I didn't do a very good job. Let me slow down and do it a little bit better here.
Yeah.
If you have a token that represents your Steam power, and you can use that token to buy and sell goods or to trade with other people using the token, then you can receive value from using that token. But the value is a derivative of Steam power. Now, while you're doing these operations with your tokens, what is going on with the actual steam power? Could that steam power be lit or powered down or somehow be utilized in some other fashion that essentially means that the derivative now is no longer value because the steam power that backed it went away?
The only way that I can see that happening would be, there's two ways. One would be having, like you said, the person powers down, which still, even with the new fork coming out, would be a 3-month process. And I think that you would see that as soon as that happened, there would be people who'd start selling, and you would start seeing the price drop of the value of that token, because to reflect that, right? Which
That's
is one
a
of
good
the
very
reasons why
point.
I think that you would see people who have their own token, they would have an incentive to want to keep powered up. That's why I think that that's the case. Now, when you talk about other ways, there's one other way that I can think of, and the only way that I can really see it is you get 100% upvotes per day per account, right? And after that, you start trailing off, right? You start losing steam power that you can put towards your votes. So the one problem potentially that I see would be giving out, let's say each token represents a 100% vote. In that case, it might be problematic if everybody wants to wait until a certain day to use their tokens, because it might really slow, but I even with that, I still see a community kind of organically coming around because the only thing that somebody could really do would be to buy a bunch of those tokens and then just upvote a bunch of stuff to make sure that the steam power is low. But if that's the case, then the community will probably just stop using the tokens for a moment, will stop selling them, and we'll let that get fixed on its own. It's not something that can be, that somebody can attack indefinitely without paying the guild quite a bit of money, I think, to do so. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I haven't thought of...
It's an interesting idea. We kind of have gone astray from kind of evaluating the BeyondBitcoin.io site in general to this very specific thing that came out of your discussion about envision this, what Beyond Bitcoin could do.
Well, the reason why I wanted to take it that direction is because a lot of the people here are BitShares veterans, have been here from day one or very dang close to it. And I'm trying to show people right now that there's a way for BitShares to get in here and leverage Steem in a way that creates a synergy that makes both projects far more valuable in the eyes of everybody who's involved in crypto and the projects in general.
And I think basically, I didn't know that JavaScript existed to interact with BitShares. Well, it does. And so what we can now do is, program the front end to interact with Steem and BitShares. And by doing that, there's, of course, the mind share effect that just more people will know about it. And so they'll be able to do things with it. But in addition to that, there are the features that you can get with BitShares that you can't get with Steem. And so by combining the two in the front end and basically allowing certain front end actions to affect not just one chain but both at the same time, you get a huge synergy. It's really quite fantastic.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, if you combine doing things two different chains in a front end, then the front end's kind of independent of the back end in regard to what it's doing. So yeah, I can really see it.
And that was specifically answering your question, Tom, of why people would be motivated to visit yet again another site. So that's the big deal about BeyondBitcoin.io.
Thank you, Brindle.
Now, yeah.
Well, I think what is
that's
also
kind
important
of,
is the different sites. They are not really disattracting. They just attract different people. I think like what the beautiful thing is,
bingo,
if
the
you have
different
beyond
funnels.
Bitcoin, you have people who are basically listening to the show, or they see it somewhere on Twitter, and then they are coming to the site, and maybe they are not really aware of Steam it in that way, or they don't really like the interface. But what you can see is there are a lot of different interfaces coming up who are always displaying the same information from the Steam blockchain. But they will all attract different kind of people. I think in the future we're going to see maybe, for example, there's one guy who's building a Steam Pinterest. So you can basically
Yes.
upload all the pictures, and he will only show the pictures. He will not show any, and people will flock to that. They're gonna put up cat pictures or any kind of memes or jokes, whatever is gonna be up there. But the people are not only interested in the text at all, and in that way, there are going to be a lot of different implementations.
Definitely. That's my take on this entire thing was, we have content creation guilds and things like that, and curation guilds. But what we can do, and this is one of the things that I saw, one of the reasons why I said, we don't need to change, in my mind, we don't need to change everything about the Steam blockchain in this hard fork coming up, because there's so many opportunities to do things like this, utilizing something like BitShares, for instance. And that's why I tell people this is kind of, BitShares and Steam are kind of like the yin and yang to each other. You can use BitShares once you get everyday people with their own cryptocurrency that is their own customized cryptocurrency. I think that's the next stage that everybody's going to start going wild over, and once you can make it so that's connected to a website where everybody can collect, can amass, can come together, can create their own content, curate their own content, upvote their own each other's content, and support each other's work, and actually have a stake in the ecosystem via that kind of token, that customized token. Now you're really starting to give an incentive for people to power up and never power down, and in addition to that, you're giving volume and a hell of a reason for BitShares to exist. The big thing for me right now is, and I'm not going to lie to you, is because it's been difficult, and by what Fadat says by difficult, meaning not as easy as it should be, that I need to consistently find people who are wanting to help us, or not necessarily just finding bugs, though that's something important, but supporting our content by getting upvotes for it and things like that, maybe upvoting a witness whenever we get one up. That's something that I would like to talk about if people are interested in supporting something like this, because though I don't mind continuing to put down money towards this, it is open source and it's intended to be for the community. I really just wanted to get a good start on it, and something that is built fully is going to take probably more than just me and Fadat and Tuan. So I want to, that's one of the reasons why I wanted Fadat to send you guys all the repo, because I'd love everybody to consider this, just putting a little bit of effort in your own unique way to bring this to be. I think everybody's going to see that it would be a huge thing for both BitShares and Steam.
Yeah, there's just,
and yes,
it's an interesting time for the web. These blockchain front ends are crazy powerful. We've seen that with Steam, and remember, Steam just interacts with Steemit.com, the front end, only interacts with the Steam blockchain. However, by adding other chains to the front end, and allowing the interactions between the chains to happen in the front end, which you can do more and more because of React and Redux and all of these JavaScript front-end technologies. We can move more of the computing aspect direct to the front end. So we do some basic computations in the front end, and what we end up with is something that's totally different from either of the two chains you're interacting with. Now, better still is this is something that could possibly go even outside of Brayfeed. And that's great too, because by connecting it, let's just say to Bitcoin, right? We could add features based on that and so on and so forth. Sort of making it so that the front ends are able to meld together some of the best features of different chains. Because I think everybody here knows, hands down, BitShare's best feature is being able to create these tokens. It's fantastic.
It's definitely one of them. It's definitely one of them. That and the market pegged assets, probably. But you're right. A customized version of the ability to create your own customized tokens is what BitShares was supposed to be about. That's why it was the flagship. We've been looking, though, for so long internally. And this is, I think, the biggest mistake that we made back. The big reason why, although I understood and at times was kind of giddy about what Bytemaster said the potential of the merger was, I always had a sense that we were missing out on a lot of marketing that all these other chains would have offered, and the potential for these chains to work together in the future, to bring user experiences that were truly unique but used multiple chains. That's something that's been on my mind for quite some time now. The deep technicals of how to do it, that's a different story. But when we can get this stuff done, man, I see an explosion of people making tokens and guilds. And the question to me is, what is it going to take to get there, and who is interested in helping me out here? Because honestly, that's, the infrastructure that I'm working on is the stuff that I want to get built so I can start giving the tokens out and giving ownership in beyond Bitcoin to the people who deserve it, which is, let's face it, all of you guys, and probably, a handful of very avid listeners who've been here since, very early on. And of course, the people who come in the future to help us. But with that said, yeah, if you guys would look over it, see if there's anything that you would like to see. I guess, Fadat, is there a way of contacting you that you would like people to reach out to you if they have ideas or?
Yeah. Please contact me at fadat@gmail.com on Google Hangouts. Anytime, any day. I'm generally around.
And I mean, this would be, if you're interested in testing it, if you're interested in having a page made like this, like I said, it's not perfected yet. There are things like, for instance, we can't vote on stuff directly from there the last time I checked. But there are things that, as we get these different websites coming up, I think that we'll be able to continue debugging all of this stuff and having more eyes looking at it.
Is it actually like a WordPress based, or is it a WordPress plugin?
Yes, it is WordPress based. That's correct.
So you're gonna publish that as a plugin for everybody?
It's not a plugin. It can't work that way. We tried, and so have other people. But what this does, it connects to the database on the back end. Now, it is published, and you can set it up, and if you want, I even show you through it. Basically, it's a Java app that connects to the MySQL database that WordPress is connected to, and then it loads all the selected content into that database.
I like that because you can use that basically to run your startup news section. You post all the stuff on Steam, and then you just pull up all the information that are your company related, and that way you can make that quite easily. And you don't really have to maintain it.
That's the whole goal, and that's the thing. Check that out. The infrastructure maintenance portion of the thing is transferred to the blockchain, which is fantastic if you're the web host.
Well, and if you also think about it, imagine your website, like you're talking about, Chris. Imagine that company now says, okay, we're going to start distributing loyalty points from our own loyalty points that we created on BitShare's platform. We're going to start distributing them to users who go to our website and retweet the content that is on our website, or share it to Facebook. And they could power up their own content to be shared directly from the website, and people could earn tokens, loyalty points, airline miles, whatever, based on the businesses that they're promoting their content. And I just see so much opportunity for this.
Definitely, there's a lot of ways how you can really promote that and use it for any kind of blog or website or startup website, etc.
So, I mean, if you guys are interested, let us know. I'm definitely interested in the potential of getting something like this done also for something like a BitShares website, or maybe a BitShares fan site or something like that. It doesn't have to be the official one, but a BitShares community news site would be nice, where everybody could post what's going on, what they're doing, and get paid for it, as opposed to just posting in the BitShares forums.
Well, probably you just have to talk to Faf. I mean, he's already running his own site. He's probably quite interested in that.
I actually think I might do that. But definitely, if you guys know whales who might be interested in supporting this, I mean, all I can say is, you guys all know I don't ask for money very often, and I try not to. I could probably try to do an ICO or something like that at some point in time and make a good bit of money if I've got a team, but I would prefer to build something, decent with a good start of money that I've been working on, and show people something, and have that team ready to move forward and have some support before I step forward with trying to ask for a lot of money. But I definitely am interested in getting some support with this, because like I said, it's going to be open source for anybody to use. So it would be a shame for us not to have it. And if I can use this as a tool to kind of show people, because I know what I want to do with it, and I know what other people can do with it. I'm sure that other people will not only copy it, but they will improve upon it. And at that point, we just start winning. It's a 360 win all the way around. So just something to bring up to everybody. And, F King Lag, you have your own website. You could have your own website. BlockPay, you could have your own website like this. PeerPlays could even have their own, websites that are like this. It's something that I would really like to continue with. But real quick, before we end this portion, Fadet, could you give maybe like a quick rundown on Chainbase and how you see that being valuable, and what you wanted to talk about with that?
Sure. Well, okay. We've actually now changed the name to blockchain. And what that is a blockchain designed around content storage written in Go. And it's also because we wrote the Golang code for interoperating with Steam a long time ago. So we want to enable that as well. So, wow, it's almost a second order effect chain of Steam, in that people will be able to interact with this backend application, which is another chain in of itself that is for storing any kind of content. So we've broadened a little bit away from blogs and also into video as well. People are going to be able to store magnet link hashes in the chain and then view them via WebTorrent in their browser. So let's see. And it's also going to
That's cool.
be able to interact with BitShares like we were describing also. So it's the back-end piece of all these front-end tech, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does.
And yes, and are you thinking about having a token for this blockchain, or is it a non-tokenized
but that is not yet, yes, we will have a token, but we don't know what characteristics that token will have yet.
Fair enough. Well, so would it be safe to say that we can talk about this a little bit more, maybe during the after party or next week in the coming weeks?
Sure, I mean, we can talk about it more now, too, if anybody has any questions. I'm happy to answer anything that I know the answer to at this early stage. This show's for transparency, so I'll be transparent about it.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. We're getting really close to the end of our portion. So
Well, then bring
what I would
the
like
answer
to do
card.
is,
Sure.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's keep this one for the after party, and we'll bring it up after the next segment is over. And
Sounds
with
fine.
that said, is there anything that you would like to leave everybody with? Any final points or comments?
Well, we want to build a force multiplier. We want to multiply what we've already seen.
Well, I definitely am seeing exactly what you're talking about. The force multiplication is, in my eyes, the end goal. That is what is called human empowerment. When you put a force multiplier in a a small, 70-pound, 4'5" lady's hands, she's going to be able to take out a guy who is 3 times her size if need be. These are the types of things that technology can do for us. And technology isn't always destructive. Oftentimes it's very productive. And this is the type of thing, obviously it comes down to what we want to do with it. But if we are willing to promote and work on this, and we can see this idea come to fruition, I really think that you guys are going to be stunned by the results. I can't say anything other than I think. Because there's no other examples in the space right now other than maybe ICO, the ICO Nomi chain, and the value of ICOs. When anybody can create their own token, that is when cryptocurrencies and digital currencies will be, in my opinion, seeing mass adoption, because then you're empowering other people to imbue these tokens with the value propositions that they want to imbue. And whenever that barrier to entry is very high, it's going to be very hard. And whenever we have a site and an infrastructure that's built that makes this easy, we're going to see an explosion. And that's really all I can say.
Can now move from chain to chain. I want to be very, very clear about that. That ripple effects can pass from one chain to another now. And because of that, we have a lot of things to look forward to.
One of the things that occurs to me is I know Brindleswan was really heavily into making a lot of great humorous and very community building kind of tokens. I really enjoyed that episode, but he's got a lot of experience in producing and using these user issued asset tokens, and from what I observed from that, and other people that tried it as well, was that it really didn't inflame the community to really have all this stimulation of market activity the way you're describing it, Fuzzy. So I'm not sure what was missing in those earlier days when BitShares was when we were all focused on BitShares in that era. But I'm not seeing what you're saying, Fuzzy. I'm not convinced that will happen, and maybe I never could be until I can observe it in the real world. Maybe it has to happen before I can really buy into it. But I'm a little skeptical. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's fine. I think. Go ahead, Brendel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I wouldn't judge what can be done with user-issued assets based on what I've done, because I basically just created them and talked about them. I haven't really done anything with them yet. So, in fact, orgasms are actually in limbo. There was a technical glitch, and when I bought them, they were assigned to a user, MRPADI, Miss Patty, and it's a strange little incident. I still have to get I might need a hard fork on the BitShares blockchain to get orgasms out of limbo. But I would like to rededicate myself to working on Schmitz and Giggles, and I may, in fact, bequeath them to Fuzzy, to your project here. I basically would like to see these things become controlled by a multi-signature account of 5 or 7 of us who participate in this weekly session. So feel free now to bug me about this issue, and thanks for bringing it up.
Well, yeah, and let's go ahead, and I'll say this before I move to the next the next segment, and we can talk about this more in depth afterwards. But try not to consider the value proposition of, for instance, maybe Brindle Swan's tokens, or, UIAs, for instance,
Well,
are
actually,
not
Fuzzy,
always going to be
the reason I
valuable.
mentioned
And the
Brindle Swan's
proposition,
tokens was that he obviously found a way to do it easily. I mean, he made so many of them that it was not a difficult thing for him to do. And so, if it was easy to create the tokens, which is one of the things you said, when it becomes easy, then
yeah,
we're going to see a huge increase in activity. But I don't think we saw that
no,
in the bit
no,
shares
no,
world.
no. Once it's easy, I'm talking about once this infrastructure is built. This infrastructure is not built. Right now, it is not easy to send tokens to people. And I can tell you this for certainty, because the reason why I don't do the Excel spreadsheet to send out tokens anymore is it takes literally, it was taking me way too long to have to send tokens to people manually using the wallet. There needs to be better ways. There need, and it's fine if we don't come up with them, other people are going to, and that's just money that BitShares may or may not get, depending on whether they want to work on the BitShares platform or not. What I'm saying is that we have projects that will work. I can guarantee you right now, when people can pass out tokens to people for sharing content on their own social media sites, you're going to get people doing it, and if they can get paid in tokens that actually have a value proposition, we'll use
That's
them.
the key, the value proposition, and that value proposition
Now,
has to be brought by the owner or the issuer of the
bingo.
user-issued asset.
Yeah, that's not us. That's not on us. We just need to make the sandbox so people can get in it and build sandcastles. Some people will create the shittiest sandcastle you have ever seen that nobody will want to visit. People will want to kick it when they see it. Others will create a sandcastle that looks like it's amazing, but with just a step beside it, it's going to collapse because of the shaking of the ground. And other people will create actual, sandcastles that will stand the test of time and are gorgeous. That's not on us. What's on us is to build the infrastructure for them to be able to utilize those things.
And I would like it to be on us to build a nice sandcastle together. So
agreed, man. So much so. That's why we bring this up here.
It also was not that easy to create the user-issued assets. I actually had to hire Dan Notestein to help me with Schmacks and get them, how I wanted them. They're really kind of a historical thing. These are user-issued assets that were created way back when, and so they're placeholders to do something with at some point, and we might be getting towards that point.
Well,
thanks for that input.
That's the direction we're going in. Sorry, Tom.
No problem. That's thanks for that input, Brindle Swan, because it seemed like they were happening so frequently. I thought it was pretty easy for you to do. So I appreciate your mentioning that it wasn't all that easy. I myself created one user-issued asset. It wasn't easy, but that was in the really early days. So, but thanks for the input. I didn't realize it was as difficult as it appears to have been.
And I don't know how it is now either. It might be easier now. The hard part is the value proposition and how changeable is your user-issued asset, and can I make giggles at some point, of which I only created an initial 100? Can I make them be profit-sharing tokens? What features can I add to them? They are a historic user-issued asset that only 100 were created, and way back when on the BitShares chain. So what can we do with giggles? I don't know.
Oh, and that's one of the reasons right there, Brindle, why I don't mind helping with anything like being a multi-sig, but I can't. I have to take these things like more seriously though, like meaning by which I mean multi-sig is great for giggles. But we would need something like before I started passing them out, I would really want, to know that they're going to be used for something. That's something that I think we all need to work on. We all need to work together to try to get this stuff. I mean, I cannot explain to you guys. People will want to have their own tokens whenever this stuff happens, especially, I mean, you think about it. a token like this from BitShares could be backed by all kinds of stuff, but there's one thing that for sure it could be backed by using this infrastructure: Steam power and the perceived value of the content that you are creating. So if you have, a tag that its content is really good and people want to be part of that community, then the community's coin is going to be worth more too. And I know that not everybody will recognize this. And I agree with Tom, like from that standpoint, there are going to be a lot of people who come up with shit schemes and nasty stuff. And there are going to be people who pass out tokens that have very little value, or, that look like they're named like another token that has value, but they don't have value because they're spelled with a special character that makes them look like, even though it's a fraudulent token. There's all kinds of schemes people will come up with. But those are the types of things I think that we kind of just have to fix that stuff as we go along. And we just have to worry at first about, getting this stuff out there so people can play with it. And once you start doing that, I think that, it'll organically work some of that stuff out. The only thing that I'm wanting to do is make sure that I get, everybody's input on constructively how we can make things better and how we can support the project. So with that said, thank you guys, everybody, for joining up and talking about this stuff. Thank you for that, for joining up and wanting to bring up Chainbase and Beyond Bitcoin. And thank you for everything that you've been doing with it, man. I mean, you understand, I know behind the scenes there have been times when you've said, man, this is just needlessly difficult, but you've stuck by and you understand what I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it. So I do appreciate you being there for that stuff and being there throughout the difficulties of it too.
No problem. No problem. It's good times.
Okay, so next today is going to be Virtual Growth. Virtual Growth is going to be talking about, I'm assuming that you are going to be talking about more than one thing, but yeah, stuff. You have multiple things that you are wanting to talk about today, correct?
I don't want to talk about anything. Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah. Other people want me to talk about things, so the answer is yes.
Yeah, that's the damn answer, buddy. You better be careful. Don't anger the people who listen to these hangouts. Don't make them think that you're not doing anything, or they will hunt you down.
Fair enough.
Well, how about I go ahead and hand you the talking stick? You can provide some updates on what you're doing. Like you've got 4 different things that are pretty big right now. One of which is Steam Apprentice that everybody knows about. Another one is the Hangout that you guys are going to be doing every Sunday. Is that correct? Every Sunday, or is that the plan at present?
It's not next Sunday. It's taking a hiatus, but it will resume in the future.
Okay. And Steam Bets and Virtual Steam Fest. So I'll go ahead and I'll step down and let you give some up.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. First off, I'm going to mention other things for other people, as I said I would to the community. Steam Voter Rescue, which was talked about by the Crypto Drive last week. There's a lower buy-in. Originally it was talked about as 3,000. Now it's down to 2,000. So far has been raised is 1,685 Steam-backed dollars. Those are in his savings account. There's been donations from numerous people, so thank you to those people. I'll share the
I think you slipped off the button there, Virtual Growth.
I did. I was posting a link. And thanks to donations from numerous people in the community, I'll just mention some of the names. Cryptomancer, 10 Steam-backed dollars. Merge, 10 Steam-backed dollars. Steam Drive, 734 Steam-backed dollars, and so on. Crypto Drive himself, 300 Steam-backed dollars. People can go and see further details as they wish. Upvotes also go towards adding to those as well. The Alien has let me know about a project you were doing as far as new tags, the idea of encouraging more engagement and going viral. I'll share that link now and give a little more detail. They have their new tags, news, funny, and TIL. Which just means today I learned. Those are from Reddit. They're popular tags there. They are the people that started the Krnel project, and they brought about these ideas, also of rewarding short content with links to create news, make it more viral, so to speak, and Steam it. Just a short topics for people who can actually read, because a lot of us don't have time to read all these big long ones. Also, they're looking to reward comments, and I actually got a message and they said they're going to rewarding your comments. I'm like, cool, because some of us comment more than actually posting. Everybody does different interactions. Also, a thank you to Smooth, Bernie Janders, and Next Gen Cripple. They're the one big whales that support that project, as well as interest in many others, as always we all know. They also mentioned Steam Prentice as well. The alien may come by and talk sometime about this or other things. If people are interested, I figured there'd be interest in that, so I opened up an invitation there. The economic changes, that post was made recently. Chris shared it earlier. I was going to mention that, so that's already there, people to look at. Steamland, I am on Twitter. It has 19,000 tweets that are Steam related, up to 291 followers. I am thinking of actually giving people Bitcoin as followers through that. I have a new account for Steam Prentice on Steam it itself, just the Steam Prentice name. I'm thinking of possibly doing something like the crowdfunded whale. That is that people can basically buy into a piece by making a donation, and then that amount will into something else. Also, Virtual Steam Fest, I've been working on a little more. I have a list from Arcnage. He puts out a blog. I'll share his list. He gave me a database list of all the posts related to Steamfest. I am going to be using that with pictures to put into a virtual Steamland, so we can have a virtual Steamfest, which people are interested in. And I'm welcoming other ideas and possibly as people to sponsor, to have a booth there to show pictures to be linked to their post or their blog or to other websites, as these are all optionally. We can also award people with Steam, also award people with Bitcoin within that platform and YR Grid. That can be automated. People can withdraw that Bitcoin for Steam. I will provide that as a service potentially. Otherwise, I've also been invited to the SteemSports team, so I will be doing some work with them. I also have the game account. We did esports. I did one for League of Legends. They've been fairly successful. Not that much following, but I might do something like that in the future. Or I'm just going to work with SteemSports to incorporate these things. Someone mentioned chess. A private channel was just started for such a project. They're going to be doing bets for chess. I will be writing for that as well as an editor. Also, we're going to explore people playing chess against each other for Steam. This has been done with me and Psycho Chico on a Steam game night. We did this with Cards of Humanity and Mitos, which have been a lot of fun. And part of the proceeds went to the winning player, and people who vote on those players also got rewarded for participating. If anybody has any comments or questions or else, I'm going to pause for a moment.
I will ask you one question. How many people showed up to your LOL tournament the first night?
The LOL was not actually my tournament. It was a accept bets on the teams that were playing on the bigger tournaments.
Okay, gotcha. And how many people participated, do you know?
It was around 100. It was only an initial thing. I think one of them might have got up towards 200 votes.
Well, that's not a bad showing for your first, for the first one.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, that's the only question I had up to this point. So I'll go ahead and I'll step back.
Fair enough. Yeah, so SteemSports is going to be doing, they started I think it's a Chess Master account. That was just started like a day ago or so. I was invited to a channel. So I'm going to be doing stuff with them. Same philosophy as the game account, but used with SteemSports to leverage their tools, and they're actually working on a front end as well, which is going to make payments easier and all sorts of interactions. There's a good way to share Steam power. Yes, making payments easier. There will be something open source in the future from somebody in the community, whether it be them with Furion or others. I mean, there's a few people working on such a thing. I also have my own script, which is in Node.js, that I have a programmer that I use for my games.
Interesting. So, this is actually something I did want to bring up with you at one point, but I was going to let you go a little bit further before bringing it up. But since we're on this, whenever you are distributing these tokens, distributing these tokens to people who participate, you're actually using a script to do so?
Yes, I did do small manual ones earlier, but now I have a script, so that's why I did the LOL. I can do more now, so it's automated.
Well, that's huge because that's something that I've been thinking about myself, and I wanted to bring up with you was, if you thought that Steam It would, or Steam It in general would benefit substantially from new ways of distributing tokens for people who are wanting to organize initiatives and things. Because that was one of the things that from the very beginning I thought, it doesn't make sense why we would make all these core changes when we could instead change the possibilities for users. For instance, instead of worrying about inflation, make it so, somebody who earns their Steam dollars can automatically pass them out and have them powered up, to other people's accounts and things like that. You might have a lot of different little things that people could do to distribute it in a way where, if I, as an initiative leader, pass out Steam Power, now I'm not giving people the choice of whether they're going to sell Steam or power it up. They're going to be forced to power it up. So different things like that, I think are a great way of doing things. So, and it's nice to give people those options to be able to distribute tokens and all that stuff for participation in a way that brings them value. But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, obviously you saw a need for doing this. Are there any other things that maybe Steam could be doing that you or that the community could be doing that you think would make things a lot easier?
Well, basically, Steam It is just a website. Steam is the blockchain, and we all have to make tools and resources to make it easier, like your Bitcoin IO project. SteemSports is doing that with the game accounts. And part of my purpose is to help other people that run smaller games. If they have, the current format is main posts and then comment choices that people vote on. I have a script that can do the scoring for that. I can score somebody else's game and then do the payments from the game account as a service for a percentage of the fees to help the community with games like that.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we do utilize these different tools too. It's cool to see that you have a script that enables you to do it. I mean, I'll have to talk to you about that maybe a little bit offline because that's something that maybe we can use for these hangouts in some way, shape, or form too, where I can, enter everybody into the script and just pay them out and even pay out people who attend these hangouts. That would be something that would be really, really cool that I would be interested in looking into. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit offline. But
Sure.
for now, does anybody have any questions or comments for Virtual Growth? Now, SteamFest is it going to be something that, is it something that you're still working on pretty heavily? Is it something that you're starting to get more interest, interested parties looking at it? What's going on when we drill down in there?
There is interest. I keep changing directions because not sure what people are going to like. But I think the idea of taking all of this SteamFest material and presenting it in the virtual worlds will give people an incentive and interest, because then you can see all these different pictures all at once and kind of experience a community coming together, which a few whales have said to me, please don't give up on this. It's obviously not an easy thing to just get it going. And I know you've expressed this. You've invited me to these hangouts because you've seen what I do. I'm just kind of out there jumping around, not really anywhere. I'm talking about other people's projects. Eventually, I want to do something decentralized, but we all have to be centralized first. But I'm definitely a community person. I was in the Boy Scouts for 8 years. I'm an Eagle Scout. So I appreciate those things. Like I said, I got a database of all the links from the author who does a summary of a whole bunch of things. He actually gave me more links in it he's shared in his blog himself. So it's a good collection of content. I'm just collecting all the images, and then I'm going to put stuff together to present in a virtual world, and also have the potential to share people Bitcoin and automatically in the virtual world as well. And I can offer people maybe to vote on certain things and then pay people automatically through some type of contest as to be offered Steam that way, and also give Steam to visitors. Go ahead.
Well, just think about, for instance, if you could have Steam Fest tokens. This is just one example of what we were talking about earlier, how it might kickstart and help you to get the support and on the ground that you need. What if you had this virtual Steam Fest, and you had a token that you passed out to the people who helped and contributed to bringing it to pass, and you had a special hangout with Ned and a couple other people who are key individuals in the community for those people, and they had to have tokens to be able to get into it. There's so many little things like these things that would, I really believe that if you find the right value proposition for it, being able to give out your own tokens really can leverage that community that you have behind you. And you are building up a lot of community connections by helping all these people out.
Exactly. And with a token, what automated bots, tools, and such do I have to use the token is really the important factor, because just having a token, exactly. I've had tokens in the past. I did them early on, and the minimal use was frustrating. What I want to actually do is a Steam Lands token, which will incorporate this bold idea and possibly offer to tweet people's posts as a service and reward followers and retweeters, well, to all potential ideas, depending what is best utilized value-wise and automated-wise.
Well, I know that I see you tweeting a lot of stuff too, so that's something that people who are listening to this, maybe they were unaware that these are things that are being offered and things that you were planning on doing. Maybe this is stuff that they were not aware of, benefits that to joining up that they might, now that they know, they might be more interested.
Yeah, there's the Steamlands Twitter link. I also have a Steamland chat on steamit.chat. It's just not being used for anything as things are coming together. Nothing's been concrete and foundation yet.
Well, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize sometimes is that we're standing on changing ground all the time.
Exactly.
So as long as, at least in the space where we don't have a lot of tools, once we reach a certain point where we have, a lot of the tools that we need, which it will happen within the next couple of years, I assure you. But we have reached that point. I think that you're going to see a large amount of growth in various initiatives. And I think that you're going to find yourself in a place where you'll be very successful with a lot of the initiatives you have. But like you said, we need to have something like bots that, what is going to be the value proposition for this token? But, for something like Steamland, it is pretty easy to get people to sign on who are key members of the community and say, we'll join a hangout that people will have to have this token to get into, and we'll offer insights and answer questions that they have, and all those things. But you'll have to have these tokens to get into it. Maybe that's something that can be looked at. I know that you can buy land in Steamland, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do as part of it. But I want to simplify it. People don't have to do that. They don't have to buy land. They don't have to go to a hangout. All they want to be able to do is to go to a website, which is what people are doing already, interact with that token, receive that token, and use that token for a service on that website. Right, of course. But then have that token so they can just use the website and then get that service of the Steamland and other things, but only by using that website, so that the services can be offered at the website level to everybody in one spot as a central node, so to speak.
How's actually this Steam Voter bot? How's it working?
Are you talking about as far as my script?
Yeah, no, from a user perspective, I didn't know that there's like this kind of bot already available. So
the Steam Voter bot?
Yes.
Okay, that's done by the Crypto Drive. A lot of my members in the Steam Apprentice use it. If you go to the website, you can add people that you want to be voted, and you can change your percentage. You can set the percentage of the vote and when the voting occurs. For example, it's by default, it's 20 minutes. You can do it 0 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. You can ask more questions, or Fuzzy can add, or anybody else. I'll stop.
And that's available on a website somewhere, how to use that?
Steamvoter.com, and if you look at the Steamvoter tag, you can find information.
Thank you.
So basically, I just have to put in here my boosting key, and then I can set up a couple of stuff, and then that thing will run automatically, right?
That is correct.
Oh, it's pretty cool. I always wanted to have a bot for my account.
That's pretty useful because, some of the people that I'm interacting with, it's a voting guild. They ask me to upvote things all the time. So this will help that a lot because I can just automate it and I don't have to interact. They don't have to wait for me to do it because it'll be done by the bot automatically.
Oh, definitely. Now, there are, of course, ways that people can, scam it and scheme it. Because if, for instance, if I know that you are auto voting everything I I post at X amount, then of course it's kind of, it's going to an extent, it's going to maybe not be as detailed and accurate in its upvoting, right? Because it might automatically upvote something at 15% that otherwise you might have looked at and said, oh my God, this is something that deserves 100% of my vote this time.
Oh, that's true.
I know that I only upvote this person 15%, but at the same time, it's a good tool to have available, at least in the first iteration, I think.
I think it works overall because you just look at what content and you just set it, and you can always go back and change it if things change. But when you pick whoever produces the content that you have the most interest in, you just upvote it accordingly and balance it out. It's definitely a tool to do it. It's not perfect, but all the other thing is that
I think it's nice.
You can also set your timing to vote. You can vote as early as possible or at the half hour based on value perspectives, which is a big deal.
And how does it actually work with the posting keys? I mean, I think you can actually change your posting keys after a while, right?
Yes.
So if you give that out to, let's say, coworkers, and then after a while, if the coworker is basically going, you can renew the posting key.
Yes, you can get a new key for like on Steemit, and then no longer will the key that you gave SteamVoter work, if that's what you're saying.
Yes. Okay, good.
Also, one point to bring up, Forsticken mentioned a thing about because the posting key and the voting key are the same. He did a proposal to say the voting key should be different, which I agree with, and probably many others, because a lot of us don't want to give out our posting key as we would our voting key, which would be easier.
Yep.
But SteamVoter.com is held by respectable people in the community, and the Crypto Drive has been very good about his proposal and everything else. And like you said, you have that option to change it again as if you wish.
The only visibility to that posting key is internal to the developers of the SteamVoter app and that, right? So it's not like it could get out to the public in any fashion.
No, it's just internal.
Cool. Yeah, that's not a bad protection, at least for the short term. But I agree, it would be better to have that, to have the keys separated so that that would be removed as even a possibility in the distant future.
But the other thing is the keys operate at a blockchain, and it's all back end. It's not front end, so it's more secure. It's not like other things that you have to worry about as much.
Well, as long as that can't be used in a mobile wallet where the security isn't quite as stringent.
Right.
Well, I know that I liked the idea of the SteamVoter service, and that there were a few things that needed changed in my mind. But overall, yeah, it was a solid service that I definitely support, and I also see the potential of it being, much more than it is even now, and offering a lot of things that it doesn't maybe offer today. Maybe we'll bring on this Mark Goddard guy who's working on it sometime, and maybe he'll be willing to talk about it with us. Now, with that said, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, is the code for that bot available in a GitHub repository or public, or is that just in proprietary or internal?
That's just proprietary. Even the Crypto Drive hasn't actually seen it yet. He mentioned that when he came and talked, but it will be. He'll have access to it, and it will. I don't know if they're going to do it as far as open source or part of it. I don't know the exact details. We'll have to wait from them. But I imagine part of it will be. It would make sense to improve upon it and see it.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm
That's
actually
awesome. So
going to
we
be
learned
talking
something
to.
new again. Perfect.
Yeah, it is. It is a good service, man. Now, if you guys actually want to use that service and if you want to support it, let me know because I'm going to probably give this guy some a donation to maybe help add some stuff onto it. We'll see what goes on actually about that. Is there anybody who has any questions or comments for virtual growth that they'd like to bring up, or virtual? Do you have anything else that you'd like to bring up?
No, the only thing is Steam Voter will have more features in the future. Crypto Drive is thinking about and exploring that with some other peoples. And I definitely give you feedback and input as well. So we can make it maybe more, be able to vote on certain tags of users or different ideas. Who knows? It depends how that works with the chain as we figure out how to program these things and interact. Definitely hurdles of learning these things as well.
Yep, and we kind of just have to do it and support each other while we're doing it and learn as we go because a lot of this stuff is stuff that, let's face it, there's just really no book that says this is how it's been done before. The closest thing that we can get maybe is
I have the book. It's all blank pages. You have the book. It's all blank pages. You have to fill it in yourself.
Exactly.
That's a good analogy.
Now you can fill them in from other experiences from other people and places and times, but you're
I
not
sure wish
sure
somebody
if
would
they'll
post
fit until you try
a link
it.
to that book after they filled it in.
Yeah.
Also, one last point: when I do the virtual Steamland and the Steam Fest, if anybody wants to sponsor and have their own booth, so to speak, and have pictures and links to their posts, blogs, or website, or maybe even give a talk in the future, feel free to let me know.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, then, Virtual Growth. And hold on a second here. Thank you very much, Virtual Growth, and thank you everybody for attending the Hangout today. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take. I'm going to stop recording.